Welcome back to Osprey Aligned. Here, we explore universal alignment and synchronizing with the rhythm of nature. This channel exists to help you realign with nature's seasons. Find your rhythm again. Now that we have you all excited and ready for spring, it's time to dial back just a bit. Yes, we know you're excited and ready to jump into action, but this channel is about alignment. Look around you. Is everything green and in full bloom? Probably not. So there's no need to jump into action so hastily. We understand that you've been still through the much-needed rest of winter, but now is the time for observation and execution. Time for perfection and strategizing. Time to absorb the transition of the season relative to nature and your life. A false start, or false spring as gardeners like to call it, can be a real confidence breaker. You run out with all of those new ideas, plant those seeds, and here comes another late frost. This can cause a bit of discouragement, make you feel out of sync. But it's natural. Remember, you are nature. The dormancy you sat through needs to be revitalized. The new energy needs to be absorbed. And then you begin to grow. Pull back just a bit. Observe the landscape. Be intentional with your goals and plans. Create a system that sets you up for the full bloom of success. So let's talk about what's really happening here. Here's what nobody tells you about spring. It doesn't arrive all at once. It teases, it tests, it lures you out of your winter cave with a warm day, a ray of sunlight, the promise of new beginnings. And just when you think it's safe, just when you've committed, winter returns with one final blow. This is false spring. And it happens in nature, and it happens in your life. You feel the energy shifting. You have ideas. You're motivated. The fog of winter is lifting, and suddenly you can see possibilities again. So you act. You start the project. You commit to the goal. You plant your seeds. And then life sends a late frost, an unexpected setback, a delay, a rejection, something that makes you question whether you were ready at all. And that doubt, that discouragement, it's the false start doing exactly what it was designed to do. Test whether you're truly ready for what's coming. But why does this happen? Why does nature and life work this way? Well, spring is a transition season, not a destination, not a fixed state, a transition. And transitions are messy, unpredictable, and uncomfortable by nature. Think about it. Winter didn't end yesterday. Spring doesn't arrive today. There's a space between, a liminal zone where the old season is dying, but the new one hasn't fully taken hold. The ground is thawing, but not warm. The light is returning, but not strong. The energy is building, but not steady. You are in that same space right now. You're no longer in winter's deep rest, but you're not yet in spring's full bloom. You're in between, and in-between spaces require a different kind of wisdom. This is why gardeners don't plant everything the moment they feel warmth in the air. They wait, they watch, they observe the patterns. They know that one warm week doesn't mean spring has arrived. It means spring is thinking about arriving. And there's a difference. The false start isn't a mistake. It's a warning. It's nature saying, not yet, almost, but not yet. And here's the hard truth about what happens when we ignore that warning. When you act before the season is truly ready, you waste energy, resources, and most painfully, hope. The seeds you plant in false spring don't take root. They germinate, yes. They push through the soil, vulnerable and exposed, And then the frost comes, and they die, and you're left standing there wondering what you did wrong. But you didn't do anything wrong. You just moved too soon. In your life, this looks like starting the business before you've built the foundation, launching the project before you've done the research, committing to the relationship before you've healed from the last one, sharing the idea before you've refined it, investing the money before you've secured the income, pushing your body before it's recovered its strength. It's not that these things are bad, it's that the timing is off. And in nature, timing is everything. So how do you know if you're about to make a false start? How do you recognize when you're moving out of excitement instead of readiness? Ask yourself, am I acting out of excitement or out of readiness? Have I observed the full landscape? Or am I reacting to one warm moment? Is the foundation solid, or am I building on hope alone? Am I prepared for a setback, or will it destroy me? If you're not sure, that's your answer. Wait. True spring doesn't require convincing. You won't have to talk yourself into it. You won't have to force it. When the season is truly ready, the conditions align. The timing becomes obvious. The path clears. False spring feels urgent. True spring feels inevitable. Now, you might be wondering, what am I supposed to do during this in-between time? This transition isn't wasted time. It's preparation time. It's when you set yourself up for the full bloom of success. So let me give you some practical actions for navigating this transition. First, observe the landscape. What's actually happening around you? Not what you hope is happening, not what you want to be happening. What is? Look at the conditions. Are they favorable? Are there signs of true shift, or just a temporary warm spell? In your life, this means assess where you actually are, financially, emotionally, physically, relationally. Don't make decisions based on where you want to be. Make them based on where you are. Second, prepare the soil. Gardeners don't sit idle during false spring. They prepare. They amend the soil, they plan the layout, they organize their tools. They do the unglamorous work that nobody sees, but everyone benefits from later. In your life, this means do the foundational work, build the systems, develop the skills, strengthen the relationships, create the structure, gather the resources. This is the work that ensures when you do plant, the seeds actually take root. Third, be patient with the process. Spring doesn't owe you speed. It moves at its own pace, regardless of how ready you feel, and trying to rush it only leads to disappointment. The energy you feel right now, that excitement, that motivation, it's real, but it's early energy. It's the first surge, not the sustained force. If you burn it all now, you'll have nothing left when the real planting season arrives. And finally, stay flexible. False spring teaches you to hold your plans loosely, to be ready to pivot, to understand that alignment means adjusting to conditions, not forcing conditions to adjust to you. Maybe the goal you set in winter needs refinement. Maybe the timeline needs extension. Maybe the approach needs rethinking. This transition time gives you space to make those adjustments before you're too far down the path to turn back. Now, I know this might sound discouraging. It might feel like I'm telling you to hold back when everything in you wants to move forward. But here's what I want you to understand. The false start gives you something that immediate success never could. It gives you discernment. It teaches you the difference between excitement and readiness, between hope and preparation, between wanting something and being equipped for it. These are not the same, and confusing them costs you dearly. The false start also builds resilience. When the late frost comes and you're still standing, still preparing, still moving forward despite the setback, you prove to yourself that you can handle what's coming. Because spring, when it fully arrives, is intense, it's rapid, it's demanding. And if a false start breaks you, the real season will overwhelm you. So the false start isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's the universe asking, are you sure? Are you ready? Can you handle what you're asking for? And if the answer is not yet, that's okay. That's honest. That's aligned. So what do you do with all of this? How do you move forward from here? You pull back, not retreat, not give up. Pull back. You create space between the impulse and the action. You observe, you refine, you prepare. You start asking better questions. What needs to be in place before I move? What am I assuming that I should be verifying? What's the rush? And is it real? Or is it fear? If I had to wait another month, what would I do with that time? You build systems that set you up for success, timelines that account for delays, plans that have contingencies, goals that are flexible but focused, resources that are secured, not hoped for. And you trust the transition. You trust that this in-between space is exactly where you need to be right now, not behind, not stuck. In transition, because spring is coming, the real one. The one that lasts, the one where the ground is truly warm, the frost is truly gone, and the seeds you plant actually take root and grow. But it's not here yet, almost, but not yet. And that brings me to an important distinction. There's a difference between waiting passively and waiting actively. Passive waiting is sitting around hoping things change. Active waiting is preparing for when they do. Active waiting looks like researching while you wait for the opportunity, training while you wait for the position, healing while you wait for the relationship, saving while you wait for the investment, planning while you wait for the launch. You're not doing nothing. You're doing the right thing at the right time. And right now, the right thing is preparation, not execution. Refinement, not launch. Observation, not action. This is the gift of the transition season. It gives you time. Time to get it right. Time to build it strong. Time to ensure that when you do move, you move with the full force of spring behind you, not just the whisper of it. So I want to leave you with this. You are nature. And nature doesn't rush. It doesn't skip steps. It doesn't pretend winter is over just because one day feels warm. Nature waits, it observes, it prepares. And when the time is truly right, it explodes into life with a force that cannot be stopped. That's what's coming for you. But not today, not yet. Today, you prepare, you refine, you observe, you align. And when true spring arrives, and it will, you'll be ready, not hopeful, not excited, ready. And that makes all the difference.